morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have to admit it, that I truly share the passion and the spirit of hope being expressed by many people regarding Venezuela, especially Venezuelans themselves. Here is a video that has been going the rounds in social media.
Okay, as a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco-dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years. And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yet millions. The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers. Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity. Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launch pad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime has lit a fire in the hearts of possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics. Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly, to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And
I'd like to stop it there. I think as a Zimbabwean, and many Zimbabweans out there would agree, that what has happened in Venezuela during the 25 years of dictatorship is a mirror of what has happened in Zimbabwe the last 45 years of the Zanu PF dictatorship. We have seen this script being played over and over again. How many times have Zimbabweans been complaining about how the Chinese, for instance, are looting the nation's wealth? My enthusiasm and support of the people of Venezuela is that I hope you are not going to repeat the same mistakes that we in Zimbabwe made. We had two golden opportunities to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. The first one was in 2008 to 2013. The regional body, SADC, refused to grant Zanu PF political legitimacy following the blatant cheating of the March 2008 vote, followed by the wanton violence during the runoff, the presidential runoff. They forced the Zanu PF to go into the GNU. The primary purpose of the GNU was to implement the democratic reforms which would have ended the Zanu PF dictatorship. As you all know, not even one token reform was implemented in 5 years. And hence the reason why Zimbabwe is still a dictatorship. The second opportunity was in 2017. The factional fighting within Zanu PF got out of hand. One faction ended up staging a military coup. The people of Zimbabwe's opportunity to push for reform was in the form of taking no sides, accepting what is happening, and demanding and maintaining their position in demanding meaningful democratic change. Because it was clear that the military coup was a factional war. And its main purpose was to end the Mugabe dictatorship. It did not offer anything else. We were presented with a situation where we are replacing one dictator with another. That was very clear. Mnangagwa and Chiwenga were not offering any meaningful democratic change. All they wanted is that the people should support them in removing Mugabe. And many people have come to call that day in November 2017 Zungu Day, Panic Day. The day Zimbabweans lost their head. Needless to say that the opposition took the lead in supporting the military coup. The same opposition that had failed to implement even one democratic reform during the GNU. So it was no surprise that they did that. But the fact remains that that was the second bite at the cherry, and we wasted that opportunity. My hope, my sincere hope to the people of Venezuela is that they will not repeat the same mistake we did. This is the time for cool heads and to focus on the number one task of making sure that they implement the democratic reforms that will put Venezuela back on a democratic footing. The temptation to work with the regime or to carry out some token reforms which will only give the opportunity for yet another dictator to emerge, is overwhelming. I seriously hope that the 25 years of the dictatorship in Venezuela has helped to focus the minds to ensure that the country implements the democratic reforms that will get that country back on a firm democratic footing. Don't waste that opportunity. Don't make the mistake that some of us made. Good luck to the people of Venezuela. You deserve a prosperous nation, at peace with itself and its neighbors. Everyone deserves that. But you've got to earn it. And this is a wonderful opportunity for you to make sure that you do earn it, not only for yourselves, but for your children and for posterity. Good luck.